o'clock. It is 4 o'clock, which is the appointed time for our Washington County Commissioner. Victor Iverson's traveling on county business at this time. He is with the health board. Anyways, he's out of town, and in his absence, he's asked me to be a pro temp chair while he's out. So with that, we are going to start our meeting with a invocation by Sherry Atkin and also a spiritual thought.
Thank you very much for letting the Interfaith Council have an opportunity to do prayers. One of the things that the Interfaith Council does is each month they get together and they help each other. They plan, they teach, and they all come together in unity in the projects they do. And one of the thoughts that I had today relates to a December meeting when we had seen all the research done on prayer and what prayer actually does to your brain and how it changes your brain. Takes those 4 portions of your brain, the frontal lobe and the inferior, the limbic, and the parietal, and 2 of them are negative and 2 of them are positive. When you're in sincere prayer, the 2 negatives shut down, no light. This is from, MRIs and CAT scans, totally shuts them down and brings a light, a fire on the anterior and the part of the brain, the frontal, that has to do with positive things. So my thought was to commend you for allowing prayer to happen. When you do prayer, if we're all uniting in prayer, then we're on equal playing grounds. And how nice it is to all be able to see through similar eyes, accomplish the thing that you're doing. So thank you very much. Our dear Father in heaven, this day is a normal day, but it's a happy day, and we're so grateful that thou art always willing to be near, to guide, to inspire, to answer the questions of the people that are working on this county. It's a great county, and we're so thankful for all those who have moved here and are willing to contribute and be a part and friendship. We pray for guidance to be upon the commissioners this day, and upon those who are presenting their issues, that they will be able to feel the Spirit and know the things that would be best for them and for the community. And we want to praise Thee for being able to allow us in America to be able to pray and to serve and wish and worship however we deem important. Bless those who are traveling today, and also going, that they will be safe in you. So, and this we say in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll go and have a pledge of allegiance, which will be led by Mr. Dave Walters, who is a retired colonel from the Marine Corps.
Good afternoon. I'm representing the Utah-Dixie Detachment of the Marine Corps League, and now I'll lead us all in the pledge. Please stand. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and also thank you for serving us and our country. Thank you. We also have a special distinguished guest here in the back. Trevor, would you like to bring your son forward and have him introduce himself and share what troop he's with and what he might be working on at this time?
I told him I didn't think he was going to have to do this, but he's like, no, please, Dad, no. This is my son. Well, introduce himself. Go ahead.
My name is Cody Coombs. I am with Troop 1668, and I'm working on community citizenship.
Good, well, thank you.
Congratulations.
We got to start him out young now. He's not quite 11, but he's graduated from 5th grade and he's got a 0 light, so we haven't even got his uniform yet for Scouts, so he's getting there.
Good. Thank you. Well, your dad knows a lot about governments because he controls the money. So, thank you. All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda is a means of expediting reaching matters which come before the commission for approval. The consent portion of the agenda is approved by one non-debatable motion. If any commissioner wishes to remove an item from the consent portion of the agenda, that item becomes the first order of business on the regular agenda.
I would like to make a motion to approve today's consent agenda. Commissioner Edstrom, consisting of item A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for May 17, 2017 through June 6, 2017. Item B, consideration of regular commission meeting minutes, April 18, 2017, minutes for May 2nd, 2017, and minutes for May 16, 2017. Also, item C, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property, consideration of administrative adjustment personal property, and we have 3, consideration of application for property tax abatements, consideration of application for the settlement or deferral of property taxes, of which there are 3, and approval and acceptance of the Pinion Hills subdivision phase 3 amended and extended plat. And item H, approval and acceptance of Pinion Hills subdivision phase 4 amended plat. And item H, approval and acceptance of Pinion Hills subdivision phase 5 amended and extended plat. Item J, approval and acceptance of Bringhurst Farm subdivision plat. And item K, approval and acceptance of Rice Ranch subdivision plat. L, approval of reimbursement contract for county resource management plan. M, consideration of the execution of an agreement between Washington County and the Pine Valley Local District, which provides for additional law enforcement in the Pine Valley area. Item N, ratification of county match for grant proposal. And item O, acknowledgement of publishing notice of adoption of ordinance number 2017-1091 on Saturday, May 20th, 2017. That would be my motion.
Thank you. I do have one question for the county attorney. Traditionally, we haven't had the final plats come to us. Why the change?
So, that's a really good question. Traditionally they did, and when we revised a bunch of things in the county land use ordinance about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we decided that was an administrative action and have been doing that administratively. These plats that all came in, the county commissioner signature block said that it was approved in a commission meeting, it's recorded in the formal minutes. And so we ran that through, and in kind of kicking that around, it seems like if we're going to be getting some in that way, that's kind of an expectation. We figured we could throw them on the consent agenda. That's up to you guys if you'd like to go back that way. But we figured they already had all the other signatures, rather than send them back and hold up beginning signatures and print that block. Okay. We figured we could run it through on consent.
I just was curious. I'll go ahead and second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Then we go to our regular agenda items for consideration. The first item is consideration of purchase request and ratification of purchase request by the clerk auditor's office.
Yeah, Commissioners, today we have 3 that's on the agenda. And then I have, after we get those done, I would like to just discuss one that came up today. We can move forward on. 3 we have for today are, first one is a bronze George Washington statue, and that is $35,000, and that is coming out of the RAP fund tax that we have. The next one we have is for IT, and this is for $16,364, and this is for expanding our file storage for the county. And then the last one we have is for ratification. That is for a new travel trailer out at the sheriff's office. And they turned in an old Skydeck trailer, and then got a 2014 travel trailer. And the total of that is $18,170.
Mr. Brooksby, what are you going to do with the travel trailer?
Again, it's the command center, more space where we have more fires in the county. giving our employees things for search and rescue operations, any type of emergency management type situation in the county. It's great to have that resource to where they can live on scene until that emergency situation is taken care of. So.
Thank you for that explanation. I just wanted some clarification there, because when you call that a travel trailer, I have spent many, many nights, as has Deputy Cashin standing by the back door, working in instant command in those things. And these events, unfortunately, don't always end at 5 o'clock, and they keep going. And when we're coming into fire season, they can go day after day after day. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody else knew that we weren't buying travel trailers.
Is it true that our sheriff was driving down the road and the paneling on the side flew off?
Yes, on the Skytech. It was definitely time for replacement. So.
I'd heard that rumor. Good.
Well, Chairman Pro Tem, I would make a motion to approve the ratification of the purchase request from Mark Blanche and the others that he's presenting to us this time.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then I have one item for discussion. The road department needs a 40,000 gallon water tank put on their water truck. And that one is, they've got the 3 bids that's necessary, and they've also got the budget to take care of that. We just wanted to kind of go forward. They don't want to wait till the next commission. They kind of want to go forward and get that taken care of before then. And then the next commission, we will ratify that after it's all taken care of. So I just wanted to let you know what, and make sure that's okay if we move forward on that.
I'm comfortable with moving forward with it, and with this explanation, as long as it's on a consent agenda for next meeting. I don't want to get in the habit of not posting things up properly.
I agree.
Eric, you look like you want to make a
Yeah,
comment.
Ron called and talked to me about this morning, and I think that's a healthy way to go.
I appreciate your input on it, and I had a chance to review this with Ron this morning as well. So I'd make a motion that we tentatively approve it, with final approval coming on our next commission meeting, if that's proper or whatever is appropriate.
I'll go ahead and second that. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is a presentation and report on the 2017 Washington County tax sale presented by Mr. Hatham.
Plano Keys will do. The annual tax sale was held on May 25th, a couple weeks ago. We started the process with 245 parcels that were in jeopardy of being sold, and that's always a kind of a big number, but that's actually a number that's lower than it has been historically. We ended up with 13 parcels that went to the tax sale. You have a list in front of you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks like that got no bids, and so those will revert to county ownership. There's one parcel on the list, a property in Hurricane that was bid on. There was a lot of active bidding on it, and after the sale, the high bidder, the successful bidder, before he paid any money, went and looked at the property and decided that he wasn't interested in the property at that point. And we do have the option of pursuing that legally. We haven't done that. So according to our code, we can go back to the second highest bidder and see if they're interested. And the second highest bidder also went and looked at the property, and they weren't interested at that point. It's kind of amazing sometimes that people are willing to spend bid $126,000 for a parcel, not having seen it first, but that's what happened. And so there was active bidding between three main bidders, and I felt like we could go back to the third bidder and ask them, but it was back and forth, and so I wasn't sure what we should tell any of the bidders. Well, what would you pay for this? So my opinion is that we put that back in the tax sale next year, and our assessor's office wasn't aware that there were issues with the property. And they're going to go back and look at that property and maybe assess that a bit different for 2017. In some ways, if a person goes on to our website and sees it's valued at a certain amount of money, it gives them a certain maybe comfort level on what it's worth. And it hadn't been devalued based on some circumstances with the property, so we're gonna take a look at that as well. So I felt like the best thing to do with that property, where there wasn't interested bidders at the high end of that it should go back on the list for next year and be back in the tax sale.
So, Mr. Hafen, when you explained the rules of the tax sale, and I was there and observed it, it was required that they would have to, within that day, place a non-refundable deposit.
Right.
Did they do that?
No, they went to see the property before the end of the day on Thursday. So there was no money changed hands on that property when it was paid.
So commissioners, just for your information also, part of the discussion that I've had with Kim on this, you know, it was a significant bid, over $100,000 was bid. The taxes that were owed were
$4,600, I think, something like that.
under $5,000. And so the county obviously has the legal option of going after that taxpayer to try to get them to pay the full $126,000. We would put significant time and resources into that and then turn around and give all but $4,500 of that to the state of Utah.
Or to the person that lost the
Well,
property.
and that would go to the state of Utah to be held in trust for the owner of the property to go and make a claim against it. The county is never unjustly enriched by a property tax sale, nor is the state of Utah. And so my concern actually is that we don't undermine the integrity of the bidding process on these things by allowing frivolous bidding to run these prices up and preclude somebody who may have tendered a reasonable and responsible bid because they went and looked at the property prior to the sale. I don't know but what somebody that went out of the bidding at a fair value because they had done the necessary and prudent things that we would expect of a bidder. And so I would actually frankly like to visit with the other commissioners and with the clerk auditor to come up with a process that does not undermine the integrity of the tax sale by allowing runaway bids by somebody that's never seen it. I think they should be required to put something down. I don't know. It's a process I think that needs to be refined because allowing that to happen undermines legitimate bidders. And I hope everybody can understand what I'm saying.
I think by putting that back in the tax sale next year,
I think that's the best solution.
Let's those people that made legitimate bids have an opportunity to do that as well.
I agree with you. I totally do.
One of the things in our, kind of the rules of the tax sale, I don't tell people much about the property when we're presenting those for sale. I visit all the tax sale properties that end up in the sale and maybe know more about them than some of the bidders do. I did on this one for sure. But I don't think it's like me or the county's responsibility to tell the bidder that, you know, this is, you're not being very wise about this. But maybe, I don't know what's the best thing to do so that we don't get people that are bidding inappropriately.
I totally get that. Yet on the other hand, people, if they bid inappropriately and there's absolutely no skin in the game for undermining a legitimate bid process, then I wonder if we need to reevaluate that. But maybe all those rules are set by statute and
We have our own
our hands
ordinances
are
about
tied.
that a bit.
But it's a conversation I'd like to have.
Do we need to officially approve this or what?
Yeah, none of these sales are official until they're approved, and none of these actions are official until they're approved by the county commission. Once you do that, if you do approve the recommendations from our office, then we'll go ahead and start the deed process and get those deeds out to the successful bidders. And Commissioner Cox made a point about the money going to the state. We have an ordinance in the county where I'll contact the same people that I contacted for the tax sale that were losing the property or lien holders, and notify them if there are excess funds over the amount that's owed to the county. And they have a certain amount of time to come back and let us know that they're a legitimate owner of some of that excess money, and we make that distribution if it's possible for us to do that. And after that time frame passes, if there's not, we haven't had requests, then it goes to the state. It's kind of, maybe it's not interesting, I think it's interesting, sometimes when you get old, you can do this quite a bit. But let me just say that we had a property in the tax sale last year over in Santa Clara that we tried to contact the owner and made what we thought was a pretty good attempt to contact the owner, but at the end of the day, felt like maybe we could do a bit more. So we've spent the last year trying to contact the same owner with no results. And so that lot sold in Santa Clara in this tax sale. It's the one for $109,000 on here. And now we're going to there's no lien holders, so now we're going to contact the same people that we tried to contact to let them know they're losing it. And so essentially, my opinion is going to be that we're going to send more than $100,000 on that parcel to the state because we didn't make any success contacting the owner for the sale, and now we won't have any success contacting the owner for the excess funds, but so be it.
Well, thank you, Kim, for your work and effort on the tax sale. As commissioners, I know that we're able to see all of the effort that you put into resolving these things and keeping properties off of the tax sale, and it's a commendable job. Thank you.
I figured my goal was to have 0 on here, so I was 13 off, so.
I would make a motion to approve the 2017 tax sale and the report of the county commissioners outlined.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Hagan.
Final camel there.
The third item is a presentation regarding our resource management plan by one of our county attorneys, Celeste Mooley.
Well, I've been here before talking about this resource management plan, but it is now out for public comment. I think I touched the wrong one. Where is it?
Looks good.
Okay. So the sections of the resource management plan are on the county's website under the commission page. There's a tab that says resource management plan, and when you go to that, this is what will come up. And each one of those is a section as required by state law. So I am here to ask the public, please go read those and give me feedback. There are things I don't know about this county, and the more feedback I get, the better the final product will be. So it's on the county's website where it's easily accessible, and anybody who wants to talk to me about it or give me their opinion, and call me at the county attorney's office or send me an email. And if you do go start looking through these, you'll notice that there's a place in there that calls for maps, and there are no maps, and I'll show you why. Because our GIS department is absolutely wonderful, and they are putting it in a story map format, so that when it's completed, instead of just going and reading through pages and pages of text, it'll be linked to, it's not pulling up on here very well, I don't know why, but it'll be linked to maps. So as you're reading through text about county resources, it'll link to a map that shows you what you're reading about, and it makes it make a lot more sense, and it makes it a lot more interesting. And you'd agree with me if I could show you what it looks like. Oh, that's hard to do. Anyway, it's a cool format, makes it really interactive and really user-friendly. And it'll be open for public comment until the last county commission meeting in July, when it needs to be formally adopted. So I need feedback before then, and the earlier I get it, the easier it is to work it into the final.
So, go ahead. So is there a place that they can just click and make comments online, or how do, I mean?
No, but that's a great idea, so there probably will be soon.
Okay.
That worked out really well on the BLM's resource management plan, but as clarification for the audience, this is really a bold step forward for Washington County. When Congress passed the Federal Land Planning Management Act in 1976, it directed the BLM to coordinate with the counties and coordinate their resource management plans with county plans And so many of the counties have not had an opportunity to have a plan. So under the leadership of the state and help from our attorneys and especially you, Celeste, who was hired specifically to work on this plan, we now have I feel, a robust draft management plan, and I'm interested in feedback. But this is going to give us really some valuable leverage for sitting down with the BLM and actually having a plan for how those lands can benefit the people of Washington County, and from a statewide perspective, the people of the state of Utah, because all of the counties are working on these. And I think we're probably one of the first ones done. Not?
No,
Where are we at?
we're about in the middle of the path. We're gonna meet the statutory deadline, which is.
We're going for quality instead of speed.
There you
I was
go.
gonna say, I've read some of the other counties, I'm not gonna mention any names.
We spent too much time working on the BLM thing.
So anyways, this
But
is-
anyway, thank you, and we're looking forward to some real great feedback from everybody on this.
Can you
draft
make,
resource
can
management
you make
plan.
sure that a link is on our homepage to this?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Good job, Celeste.
Okay, we'll move on to our next item is consideration of resolution number R-2017-2192, a resolution appointing a board member to the Habitat Conservation Technical Committee. And this is the board that helps us manage the tortoises, the desert tortoises indeed.
I'd be happy to speak to this. Washington County signed one of the first large habitat conservation plans in the United States, and we did it for the preservation of the desert forest. And we worked closely with the Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee, and the advisory committee has a lot of stakeholder partners that work, and occasionally they need some real technical expertise on biological and other questions. And so from time to time, we need to review the membership of the technical committee. Nathan Brown, who has been representing U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, has moved on, and they are nominating Hillary Whitcomb to replace him as their representative on the technical committee. And so I would make a motion in support of Resolution R-2017-2192, which is a resolution appointing Hillary Whitcomb as a board member to the Habitat Conservation Technical Committee.
Have you worked with her? I've never met her.
I haven't, I've met her, but I can't say that I know her, but as a partnering agency, they have the right to nominate their representative to the technical committee.
Well, I'll go ahead and second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5 is consideration of resolution number R-2017-2191, a resolution approving a lease agreement with Xerox Financing Services LLC, I believe our sheriff's office.
Mr. Brooksby.
Correct, it's just re-upping an annual agreement for copy and printer services.
Okay.
That's pretty straightforward.
Correct.
All right, I'd make a motion in support of 2017-2194, a resolution approving a lease agreement with Xerox Financial for the sheriff's office.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2195, a resolution adopting a policy establishing a public works director as a point of contact for right-of-way and roadway disputes in Washington County. Is that nine? Okay.
I'll speak to that. Our public works director is very closely involved with maintaining the integrity of our rights of way and working with the road department. And I can think of no more knowledgeable person than the public works director to be that initial point of contact for any disputes that arise in Washington County on our rights of way. So I make a motion in support of 2017-2195. a resolution doing just that.
I'm always surprised how many people come to us about roads in the county, or we have these old dirt roads that we use. And anyways, it'll be great to have an official policy directing how to handle that. So I will second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 7 is consideration of a resolution number R-2017-2196, a resolution adopting the Medicaid payment rate for payments of medical transportation of Washington County Jail inmates. So since we have a lot of inmates, we're in charge of taking care of them, and every once in a while, we have to transport them to the hospital. And Hurricane Valley has been kind enough to provide the ambulance services for that, and there was some questions on which rates they should pay or how that should be handled. And so this is just a process of formally setting in place what the rate will be going forward and how we get paid.
So for clarification, is this then the same rate state of Utah reimburses and pays, or?
Everybody I talked to has said yes to that.
Yeah, my understanding as well. So it creates a level playing field so that there is some consistency in what we're paying and how much it is. And thank you, Cheyenne. We get left in the dark quite a bit, and so I appreciate that explanation. And with that, I'd make a motion in support of R-2017-2196, a resolution adopting the Medicaid payment rate for payment of medical transportation in Washington County Jail inmates.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 8, a consideration of resolution number R-2017-2197, a resolution appropriating funds for the Enterprise City Park. So Enterprise is in the process of building a very beautiful park that they can use for Corn Day, Corn Fest, and other activities up there. And so the city has approached us about using certain funds out of our recreational funds to help support that process. And so I know they individually talked to the county commissioners. I've had an opportunity to talk to them and gone out there and actually made a couple site visits of it. So I know we have a resolution here in place.
I would like to amend that resolution, Commissioner.
Sure. What's your amendment?
I've had a chance to work with the Enterprise mayor and council members and talk about how this can collaboratively impact an entire community and also recreation with the BLM's resource management plan that we've been working on. Even they acknowledge the value of all the off-road trails paths up there, and in visiting with Mayor Brack, and he explained that vision to me and how they have worked to take a project and leverage their efforts by working with private donors, the community, the school district, the county, and these things are not inexpensive projects. I would really like to see that what I feel would be a more equitable distribution, and I'd like to amend the resolution from $100,000 to $200,000 and make that contingent upon them coming in and delivering an end of product review showing us how those funds were expended and what they were able to. And so that would be my amendment.
I think that's I agree with it. So I would accept that amendment. So would you like to make a resolution with that amendment?
I would make a motion to support the resolution amended to $200,000 for the Enterprise City Park.
I'll go ahead.
2017-2197.
I'll go ahead and I believe those funds are coming out of our recreational funds that was specifically designated for parks and recreation. So I will second the motion and the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I think that was half our audience actually, so we might lose them here in a minute. Go ahead.
Mayor, would you like to take a second and tell us if we did the right thing or the wrong thing?
We appreciate the commission, and also wanted to just mention.
Come on up, Mike.
Thank you. We appreciate your partnership in helping us develop this park and recreation area. Also wanted to applaud the commission for their vision and their action to enable the RAP packs. We've been able to use that and lever that to benefit the residents there extensively, and I think that took some special vision, and we want to applaud for that. We look forward to bringing you up there and showing you a finished product, and we believe that it will help to enhance traffic, visitation, and tourism to the north part of the county, and perhaps take some pressure off Mayor Smith in Springdale with all of that traffic. Thank you.
And I'd just like to make one comment. The commission got that on the ballot, but I think that the real people that enabled that were those who voted for and supported the RAP tax that passed in Washington County. And so I think it's great to see these things moving forward. Thank you for your leadership in doing that and Jared Holtz on the council there, for doing that for the people of not only Enterprise, but area, all county residents and visitors to the area as well. Thank you.
I will say too that I was impressed by how many people came out and lobbied for the Enterprise City. So a lot of people that don't even live in Enterprise were coming to me and saying, hey, you really need to help them out. I mean, people that live in St. George. So I thought it was neat that people in St. George, I mean, even the mayor, Pike, came to me and says, hey, you really need to help out Enterprise City. And I thought that was neat that our community would come and see a project and rally behind that, even though they may not live there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going on to item 9. Yes.
I thought that's what you were doing.
I was going to say thank you very much. You know, I'm a Tyler resident there, but you know, I see Jared how he worked on the city council on this project. Let me tell you, it may go down in history as the best spent money we've ever spent.
Thank you.
That's the reasons why. He's getting donations from individuals, myself, and others, above and beyond, for means of one way or another, which will make this thing come back to be something. After I'm gone, people there will be proud of the community as well as the Washington County. As you continue to help them up there after I've gone, you're spending your money well.
Thank you for that input. I agree. Moving on to item number 9, consideration of resolution number R-17, 2017-2198, a resolution appropriating funds for a parking structure in Springdale, Utah. And I believe we have the mayor here, if you'd like to come up and also.
Mayor Stan Smith, first off, we appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with you. And I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity and kind of tell you what's happening in Springdale and what has happened as far as what we're doing. 3 years ago when I took office, there's a couple of things that we wanted to do. One of them I was never even imagined, and that is that in the 3.5 years or 2.5 years now, we've gone from a visitation of 3 million people to 1.3 million this last year. Our numbers that just came in for the first 5 months we're up to 160, almost 164,000 visitors, which is an 11.6% increase over last year. So there's a real good possibility that we could be getting close to 5 million people. Some people have given me the credit for all that, and I just said, if I would have gotten the credit for doing that, we moved down to 1972 at Springdale with saw the first million. I would have run for mayor 35 years ago. But once we got in there, one of the things that we looked at is this: we have an increase in visitation. We're a town of 570 people. But if you kind of do the numbers and real quick math, if you had 10,000 visitors a day for 365, that would only be 3.65. So you're looking at about 16,000, 17,000 visitors a day, every day of the year for Springdale. It's our responsibility to take care of those visitors. And one of the things that we did is, we're in the process of doing is updating our water system to accommodate the needs of those visitors. to the tune of about $5 million is what we did. It'll be ready to go here in about January, February next year. And in doing that, we also included Rockville so that the system will benefit Rockville as well. This parking situation is huge. If you go up there, if you were to go up last Memorial Day weekend, I don't know if you know where Doggy Dude Ranch is. It's almost Rockville. Both sides, starting right there, all the way up through Springdale was packed. People would walk basically a half a mile up the highway to get onto the first shuttle. And there was shuttle after shuttle that was going through there that was full that Silling time. They picked everybody up there and went 3 miles without picking up anybody else. Some people say that it's the parks problem, why is Springdale messing with it? And I've always said Springdale and Zion National Park are married. What happens up there affects us, what we do affects them. So in trying to work these things out, we've tried to do several different things. One is we've been pushing for the transit system from St. George to Zion National Park that would help out. 2, we're trying to find different places to park. 3, we're kind of, one of the things that was interesting this last couple of weeks, we back up. The biggest part of the parking problem is not Springdale's businesses. It's mainly the day trippers. You come at 6, 7 o'clock at night, the streets are there and beautiful, but during the daytime, it's packed. And it's also affecting the St. George hotels in that they're starting to partnership up with some of the hotels in Springdale to say, hey, can we work out something so that my guests that are staying in St. George can drive up there and say your hotel parking during the daytime and then come back and they won't have to fight. So there's some creative ways that we're trying to work with this. We're looking at different areas for parking. And the other thing that we're also doing is when I started as mayor, we were a police force of basically 1 chief, one officer, and a part-time officer. We're now getting ready to put in our 8th officer up in Springdale. And we haven't had to increase taxes to do that. But and one of the things that we do is it just doesn't cover Springdale, it covers also Rockville, and it covers Virgin. In that increase, we've passed on 0 amount of money to burden Rockville or Virgin. Basically, Rockville pays $20,000 a year. Virgin is somewhere between $50,000 to $60,000 a year. My budget for the police officers this next year, will start next month, is $1.2 million. So we're carrying a heavy burden, but protecting that side of the county. It not only helps the Virgin and Rockville, but we also back up Laverton. We've also helped out with Hurricane. And I still have to find out why, but we have a Springdale police officer parked out in the parking lot, so they're even down here. So my point being is we're doing a lot with the money that we have and helping out not just Springdale, but we hope the county and the area. We're in the middle of the SR9. It's ready to go through with the SR9 meeting. We're just about ready to put that off. That project's about an $8-10 million project, and we're putting street lights and sidewalks, everything else, and it's a considerable amount of money that Springdale is putting out of their own pocket to do that. So our money's stretched. So we're here, after all that big long speech, we're here to ask for $1 million. We have a project that we're looking at right now that will take that $1 million and they will add $3 million to that to make it a $4 million project. And with that $4 million project, we're looking at about 210 cars with the possibility, if that works out really well, that there could be 250 cars that would be there. In that SR9 project, we're taking roughly 200, 250, 300 cars off of the main street so that we can have 8-foot sidewalks. We can have a walkable community, we can have bike paths, which again cuts down on the parking and everything else. And so with this $1 million, that's kind of that seed money to make that happen. We've talked about it, I've talked with both of you in the past about it. I'm to the point right now where I can't go any further with the project or everything that needs to go on until they know for a surety that I really do have money, that I'm just not up there saying, hey, the county commissioners are great, we've talked about it, and someday that they might give us some money. But So I'm here letting you know that we are committed. And one of the things, the last point that I want to make because Smingo has had a reputation of coming down and saying, look at all the TRT that we put in there. It's our money, give it back to us. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to say we're entitled to it. You know as well as I do, as we sit there and go through budgets, that's people come up and say, give it to me because it's mine. Kind of hits me the wrong way, and by no means am I doing that at all. But I do, and that's kind of why I gave the speech, to let you know that we are doing everything we can with the money that is generated. And you know as well as I do that everybody that stays in Springdale or pays money in Springdale, part of that money comes back out of the county, and it's increasing substantially. That's why I can go from 3 officers to 8 officers without any too much.
Mayor, I applaud you for your leadership and vision and coming to the county with such a novel solution. And it reminds me of what we just saw with the Enterprise. The park they're building up there is almost a $2.5 million park, and they're getting in-kind donations. And members of the county have made private donations, and with what the county's putting in, a little bit of that hard money is going to collaboratively make a great project in Enterprise. And this is the same thing that you're doing in Springdale.
Commissioner Cox, I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead. But I like fairness, and I would be willing to have you double that, just like you doubled it.
I'll bet you would. One of the things that I'll explain to our group is the county really doesn't want to be in the business of running a parking garage.
Nor do we.
And so we're working with you, and you're working with another partner, and what we're actually seeding that project with is enough money to make it economically viable. And I think it's a leveraged private-public partnership that is going to create a great solution for your community. And we're just delighted to be able to participate with you and recognize that with that $1 million donation, you're going to be able to make that work. And that's what I found out in meeting with the mayor from Enterprise, is they really needed $200,000 to make that work. And so we all work well with each other, and I appreciate you and your leadership.
We put you on second because we knew if we gave them and they left, and then you come up and ask for $1 million, they wouldn't come up after and ask for $1 million.
Well, I talked with Mayor Bracken before and told him not to take too much money. He did say he left me some.
So, Commissioner, I make a motion in support of Resolution R-2017-2198, a resolution appropriating funds for a parking structure in Springdale Town.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is consideration of resolution number R-2017-2199, a resolution approving a transportation service agreement between SkyWest Airlines, St. George City, and Washington County regarding startup costs for a nonstop flight between St. George and Los Angeles. I believe we have Greg back. Oh, there you are.
You had to get there early to get the back seat.
Yeah.
So what this would be is adding nonstop jet service between St. George and Los Angeles, and this would be a structure of a revenue guarantee. So it's similar to what's happened with St. George Air Service in the past, where the first year there's sort of some spool up where you get people to get on the flight, and it takes some time for the market to mature. And so this would reestablish links with LA and St. George, and it would be split between both the county and the city. The total sum is $450,000. The county's part is somewhere around half of that. I don't remember the exact figure of how the city and the county have that, but if there are any other questions I can help answer on that.
So could you tell us which airline, times?
Yeah, so the times are being nailed down, but it's likely to be a morning flight leaving St. George and an evening flight returning, so that you could go there, do business for the day, and return. The time is starting this fall, either September, October, preferably September. Let's see, what else? United Airlines, or United Express would be how it'd be marketed.
So, refresh my memory, where would you have flights to and from St. George with the addition of this new flight? Where would that give you destinations to?
That's a good question. So this would bring the total number of destinations to 4. So there's Salt Lake City, Denver, Phoenix, and then Los Angeles. So with those 4, that would point you in every direction from St. George. Which what that means is it gives you access to those cities I mentioned, but it also gives you connecting access to really anything in the world or the country. That's what it would bring.
This is amazing. As a young man, I learned to fly from SkyWest. And we had a fresh MBA out of BYU, Greg's father, that came to work and shepherded a very small airline that was flying Cherokee 6. I think they had us 206, 207, and eventually they got Navajos. And it went from there. But I believe SkyWest is now probably the largest commuter airline in the world.
That's correct.
It's an amazing success story, and this is an amazing success story for St. George, being able to hub out from Los Angeles, Phoenix, Denver, and Salt Lake. I'm elated to partner with the city of St. George and SkyWest.
Well, I know as you guys have grown, they've probably had pressures to move out, move to a bigger city, so I just appreciate you keeping your headquarters here.
Well, this is a good place to live. It's hard to want to leave.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
I make a motion in support of Resolution R-2017-2199, a resolution approving a transportation services agreement between SkyWest Airlines, St. George City, and Washington County regarding the startup cost for a nonstop flight between St. George and Los Angeles.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm excited. Next item on the agenda is item 11, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2200, a resolution approving the dissolution of the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park Special Service District. And Ron, have you on the agenda to discuss this item? Or should Mr. Whitehead?
What would you like to discuss about it?
If you could explain it and what's the thoughts there?
For some time, it's been discussed out around the shooting sports park in the board meetings now, how this is operating, whether it's the best thing for the shooting sports park, whether it'd be better to be operated as a county department, under a county department, to try and help grow that shooting sports park. The venues out there have done a very good job of building their independent venues, bringing people in, and they've achieved a great success in those very venues out there. But the park itself is in a position now where it needs to develop along to support the people they're bringing in, and we've got some projects that we're working on bringing in. We've got a grant that will help bring the water system down through there and provide water for culinary and conveniences and irrigation to help improve stuff that way. And so after much discussion, it was voted on by the board to dissolve the SSD and put this in under a county department to be run by the county. And that vote was done back in January. They delivered a letter to the commission January 26, 2017, and we've been looking at it since then to see how this could best function and the best way to go about this. Between Commissioner Iverson and myself, the attorney's office, and others have discussed this. And I think we've got it in place now where we can run this and it will move forward. And so that when I move ahead with the dissolution of the SSD, there's a process behind this that we'll have to go through that will take a little time to get through. So your acceptance of that letter requesting the SSD be dissolved is the first step. And then we'll move forward with the Lieutenant Governor's office as far as dissolving the SSD and then running the park.
So Where do we, I mean, once we pass this resolution, is it resolved or?
So this is your only action in the dissolution, but it's not formally dissolved because it's becoming an entity. And then we're going to go adopt or issue a certificate that everybody can certificate a certificate of dissolution or something. That maybe.
So this is it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that explanation. I'd make a motion in support of Resolution R-2017-2200, a resolution approving the dissolution of the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park Special Service District.
I just have a question. Was it a unanimous vote to dissolve it?
There was one vote opposed to it, and I talked to that person later, and he said he was not opposed to it, but some of the members of the venue he represented on the board were concerned, and they were not sure how they wanted it to go, and so they'd asked him to vote against it.
Just curious, okay. I will second that motion. All those in favor? Aye. Passes. The next item is consideration of resolution number R-2017-2201, a resolution approving an agreement for the management of the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park.
This is one of the steps we will take to get the shooting sports park operating and get it operating under the county department. Talked about putting a manager out there, a contracted manager in place that will run similar to the fair process we do. It'll be a contracted person that will actually be in charge of running out on the day-to-day operations, part-time, and they will report to the board that will be set up, and the board will help guide the park with the way it's been run, the way they would like to see it run. They will deal with that person and also come under my office. The ultimate decision will come back to the county commission to make as far as anything with expenditures and big changes out there. But we've already got some ideas of what we'd like to see moving forward, how we'd like to do it. We put out a request for proposal, and we had 2 people respond to that. Both of them were very qualified applicants. One applicant had more shooting sports park history and knowledge. He'd been involved with this park since it was put together, involved in 2 of the venues as they were created. So we felt like his knowledge of the park and what's been done out there would be very valuable for us to move forward with. So the other applicant had a very good proposal, and hopefully when we move forward with this and we reestablish this board as an advisory board, we'll have a couple of vacant seats on that. And I would like to come back to you and recommend he be one of you asked to sit in on that board, just because supposedly you've got some good ideas to do that. We had a couple of reasons we went with the person we picked. The person we picked is Brent Jensen. Brent could start immediately. The other applicant said he could start immediately too, but he had a trip planned that he'd been going to take that would take him out of the area for about a month. We're right in the process of starting up with the water system and everything else, getting everything in place to get going. It's kind of crucial right now to be there. But also, Brent had a very good resume as far as park knowledge and operation and management out there. So we feel Brent will do a good job, and that's who we're going to recommend to you.
Commissioner, just a comment that I would make. It's oftentimes best not to reinvent wheels. And as I've looked at the model of how we ran the Washington County Fair, and we contracted with the fair director, and they have a fair board, and the board comes together and they take ownership of the county fair, and they, year after year, deliver a fantastic event, and allows us to let people who know the fair run it. This is the same type of a model where we have apparently selected an individual who has in-depth knowledge with the operation of the shooting sports park. He's going to surround himself with an advisory board that can bring recommendations to the commission, and I see this as a real step forward. And so with that, I make a motion in support of Resolution 2017-2201, a resolution approving an agreement with management of the Southern Utah Shooting Sports Park, appointing Brent Jansen as director.
I'll go ahead and second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
Commissioner, one of the things we'll start with right now is working with the attorney's office and the venues out there, and we'll rewrite the contracts the venues have with the SSD now to put the contracts in place with Washington County and the venues. And we'll have to sit down with them. We told them we would sit down with them and work through and make sure the contracts were good for everybody to keep going in a manner similar to what we're doing. We'll just have some oversight from the county in there on how we move forward to this. So we've got several steps.
Can I also make a recommendation? When I worked here with Washington County, I worked closely with the Shooting Sports Park. But in that dissolving of the district, one of the things I would recommend is they still have to file their financial reports with the state auditor's office. That would be done and cleaned up prior to that dissolution, and then make sure that Kim Hathan's office gets that copy. And part of that process also is a list of all the assets that are incurred that can be passed over to the county to make sure that's all, when the board currently is existing, that's all documented and done up front, so it's easier for the auditor's office. Just recommendation.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Don't we have him introduce himself? So
Did you catch all that, Mr.
Thanks.
Haston?
Thanks, Trevor.
That's been taken care of.
Thank you. Okay, move on to the next item. Item number 13, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2202, a resolution approving an amendment to the Juvenile Public Defenders Agreement. So I've been working with Doug Terry, who's an attorney that's over indigent defense. There's been some changes in Utah state law, and so we're just kind of updating those contracts, but he requested additional time to work with those juvenile contracts. So I will go ahead and make a motion that we actually table this item until the next commission meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 14, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2203, a resolution approving a purchase and sale agreement to purchase real property adjacent to the county administrative building for future county office space. Dean, you've been taking
I
part of
would
this.
be happy to speak to that, and I can see the Reverend Horlocker family and their employees in the audience. Merv Rever, Mary Ann and John's father, was one of the original developers of this block, and he has left a legacy of support not only for the residents of the city, but he's worked closely with Washington County when he was alive and running the show, and we've acquired a lot of what we now own for parking has been because of the thoughtfulness of Mr. Rever. And as the county continues to grow, it became apparent to us that we're going to need another little piece of that property. And working with Mary Ann and John and their staff, son-in-law, and family and employees, they've stepped up and been very thoughtful in working with us to make sure that as the county grows, that we'll have the space that we need to grow moving into the future. And so property that we're wanting to buy is the little office space immediately west of our county administration building. And some of the things that were important to the Rever family, and I say that meaning the Horlockers and the group, was that their parking not be diminished to an extent that they can't really use what they have left in their commercial property, so we're making an allowance for some parking there. And then for emergency response, and for a lot of reasons, it's very valuable that they maintain an ingress and egress across the county property. And they've been so thoughtful and kind that they recognize they need that, but they're going to give us some flexibility how we meet that need. But I think at the time that we had our large fire at the extension office that bordered their building, and I think we even made it a little bit warm for them. Seeing how it's necessary for these large fire trucks to come in and to have the space to fight a fire, I think that it's very, very important we make sure they have that ability for them moving into the future. The price that we settled on was an arm's length agreement. We agreed to have an outside independent appraiser come and appraise it, and we were both comfortable with the appraiser that was chosen and the price, and it's $290,000. So I would make a motion in support of R-2017-2203, a resolution approving a purchase and sale agreement to purchase real property adjacent to the county administration building for future county office space. Absolutely.
Just, we're really close on finalizing these purchase documents, but I'd appreciate it in the motion you'd give us a little bit of flexibility as we kind of, you stated the concept and the price, but still give us a little bit of flexibility to tweak those as we move forward and get those escrow agent.
Well, I will make it contingent upon finalizing those details between the county and the Revers.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay.
I'll second that with that amendment to the motion also. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approves. Item number 15.
Thank you.
Item number 15, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2204, a resolution proposing the expansion of services offered by the Diamond Valley Fire Special Service District to include recreation. And we have Gary Jensen.
Hi, I'm Gary Jensen. I'm the current chair of the Diamond Valley Fire Special Service District. And if I may just give you a tiny thumbnail sketch of history as to how this came about. When the district was formed, it was formed in March, and we had no assets. Everything was owned by the Dameron Valley Landowners Association, who had their annual meeting in May. In that May meeting, the landowner associations voted overwhelmingly to not only give us the fire department, all of the firefighting equipment, but also the park. So we have been managing the park under the assumption that it was in our charter to do that ever since. We'd just kind of like to back up a little bit and get it into our charter so that it would be legitimate. So that's why this request.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your service as chair of the Special Service District. This is one of those situations that I feel no news is good news, and I think you're running like a Swiss watch up there with your fire district. So I applaud your leadership for that. I just haven't had any complaints, and that's way different than it used to be a few years ago. So this would bring some clarification in, Eric, to their special service district so that they would be able to work with and do the recreational responsibilities for property that was deeded to them at the time that they become a special service district, that little park behind.
It's specifically limited to the parcel that they own.
Okay. I'd make a motion in support of R-2017-2204, a resolution proposing the expansion of services offered by the Dameron Valley Fire Special Service District to include recreation.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 16, consideration of resolution number R-2017-2205, a resolution authorizing the Washington County Clerk Auditors to sign a quitclaim deed transferring real property in the Vail area to Susan Boyce. And your name's on this?
Yeah, Commissioners, this one came to our attention through the title company made a request. They're in the process of trying to clean up a tile that has a couple of different clouds on it. One of those is from the early 1900s when someone deeded some property to the county for a road. The county never put a road in that area or used a road there. And since then, the property's been deeded, without including that county cleaning. And so just to clean that up, they've asked the county quit claim that, disclaiming any ownership to that. We don't feel like the county's giving anything away because it's been 100 years and the county's never used anything or claimed anything. So this just allows those private property owners to have a clean title as they move forward.
Nothing ever was, no one like, it's nothing, huh?
Yeah, we couldn't find evidence of anything ever out there.
Rob, why didn't you build a road on it?
Did the road like dead end to something, or did it go to something? Cool.
Yeah, we just aren't, it's never been used as an access for anything that we're aware of.
Well, I know this has caused a little confusion for Mr. Hafen. He didn't want to sign something without a resolution authorizing him to do it.
Well, we don't own it.
A little detail, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I didn't want to need something we didn't own.
So I make a motion in support of resolution R-2017-2205, a resolution authorizing the Washington County Clerk Auditor to sign a quitclaim deed transferring real estate, and that's any interest that we have in that real estate in the Barrow area, to Susan W. Boss.
I'll go ahead and second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 17 is Commissioner's Report. The only thing I would want to note on this is kind of interesting. So as commissioners, we serve on lots of boards, and Commissioner Iverson serves on the health board, and unfortunately we had a situation there where some employees were recently charged with a crime, and I wish Victor was here because he was one of those individuals that when he first got on that board, he started investigating it and actually brought that to light through his actions. So I just wanted to commend Commissioner Iverson for taking the leadership for that board and cleaning up a problem that needed to be cleaned there. So
Never easy, but he demonstrated real leadership in getting that cleaned up, and I applaud him for that as well.
it's an unfortunate situation that's going to have some tragic outcomes for individuals, but watching out public.
And I don't have any other business.
And then item 18 of Public Works and some road business by Ron.
Did I miss where Commissioner Iverson was?
Did
you say that the first meeting? I
Yes.
missed it. Thank you. He's out of town, that's all.
I don't know if he's there for UAC or if he's there for USIP or if he's there for the. He's one of those acronyms.
He's working for the county, that's all.
He's definitely there on county or as a commissioner.
I've just got a couple items I wanted to bring before you. We've been working on Highway 91 out there, doing some widening work out there, extending culverts out. The road's been, as it was built for years, 2 lanes of asphalt and culverts that ended pretty much right at the end of the asphalt too. And so we've picked up some money through the state and the federal agencies. It was very good money to use. And so they've been in the process of widening the shoulders, extending culverts out, putting new signs up and stuff to make that a better road to handle the traffic that it's receiving now. And it's finished with the first portion. Now we have the state safety or state enhancement portion that's coming in, and it will be mainly on safety. They'll be installing some guardrail, and they will start on Highway 91. And probably before they're finished on Highway 91, they'll be up starting on the Pine Valley Highway too, doing the same type of safety work. They'll start that work in mid-June, and they're supposed to be through with all of it by the end of July. So they'll move very quickly. Just wanted to remind people, if they're going to be traveling those roads and they see the construction signs out, please give notice to that, slow down, make sure you're not in any danger as you drive by the equipment moving back and forth, and you're not endangering the people working on it too. So the other thing I wanted to bring to you is we're getting close to our chip seal projects this summer, and we generally bring and tell you where we're going to work. You've heard these before, but for our 2017 chipping projects, and these all depend on time, weather, and money, how far we get, how much of it we get done. But the roads we have on this list, Old Turkey Farm Road, which is up on the Red Hill. Some people call it the Cottonwood Road, or several names for it. And that's got to be chipped this year. It's in pretty much a state of disrepair. It still gets traffic on it. It's not a huge amount, but it needs to be maintained or we'll lose part of that. It goes up to those substations and water tank stuff. The second area will be Shibboleth Village. Their roads are in need of some repair out there. Brookside, we don't get down to the very bottom. Those are private roads down in there, but we start one on Wells Fargo Drive from SR 18 and go down to the end of the pavement on that. Baker Dam Road, we start again from SR 18 and go down to the end of the asphalt on that. Central, we've got 200 east, or 200 south, sorry, 300 east, 200 east, apron off the Pine Valley Highway, and 400 east, apron off Pine Valley Highway, and Frontier Drive up there. Pine Valley, we've got a few roads that we didn't get finished last year. Grass Valley Road from Main Street south to the end of the road up past the Jennings residence. Unfinished portion of 580 East and Main Street, and there's a new road that we need to get chipped out there. It's been in place with the asphalt. We need to get a chip seal on it to keep it preserved. That's 800 East Circle. And then the other area is Enterprise. We still have county roads out that surround Enterprise that haven't been annexed in. Some of those are paved, so we'll be working on those this year. The Bench Road, and then the Enterprise Highway west of Enterprise, from where Enterprise city limits ends. We take it from there on out to the Reservoir Road, and then beyond that out to the Nevada state line. So that's the areas they'll be working on.
Thank you. I'd like to remind residents, if they see these chip seal projects, to slow down on those as well and be thoughtful and considerate of other traffic that's using that until we get those swept off. There's always probably an increased risk of throwing a rock chip.
We'll sign all those when we start working on them, so they know they're there and they know we're working in the area. It helps our construction people when they slow down, or maintenance people, so they're not in danger, but it also affects their vehicles and the other vehicles traveling too, if they'll slow down to the advisory speed and not be throwing a lot of rocks in the air until we get them swept up. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our agenda, so there's nothing else on there, no other action to be taken, so we'll adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.